All right, we're gonna get started. We'll let everybody trickle in. Great to have you all on the call today. I am Bill Daber. I'm the D&H Microsoft Marketing Manager, um, and my job is to make sure that we are trying to get these kinds of events set up and put on for you, so we can continue to grow our Microsoft practices together. And we are very pleased to be joined by Steve Adams from Productive. He is one of our most valuable training partner, I would say, and he's here today to talk to you guys about Microsoft and security and how it all works and how we can best package and sell together. Without further ado, I will pass off the webinar to him. And if you have any questions today, there's a Q&A that you can drop. I'll be monitoring that and trying to get questions over to Steve as I can. But we're really glad to have you here today, and look forward to what Steve has to teach us. So thank you.
Awesome, Bill. Thank you so much, and welcome everybody. I'm looking at attendee names and seeing a few people. If you haven't noticed already, we do have we have a series of poll questions today, and this will help us as we're having our conversation really align to what's going on in your customer community inside your practice, and help us make sure that we're taking advantage of the time we have together. As Bill said, do not hesitate to put questions in the Q&A, and we will. I'll keep an eye on that as well. And looks like we've got people, so you should be seeing the poll. Let me see how it's going. Okay, I'll give you a couple more seconds. For those of you that have never spent time with me, my name is Steve Adams, and on behalf of both D&H and Productive, I want to thank you very much for letting us be part of our time together. My background is I was a reseller for about 15 years, coming right out of not long after college, and then joined Microsoft. Microsoft brought me on because they're like, hey, Steve, you seem to be really good at building partner practices. Will you come do that for Microsoft? So I did that and was there for 13 years, retired, decided I didn't like being retired. So now here I am delivering. Last year, I delivered 127 events. 46 of those, I think, were in person. So yeah, not retiring very well. Okay, it looks like we have quite a few people that have submitted the survey answers. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at those responses. So we're going to be talking about we're going to start off exactly with this. Where are most SMB customers, right? So where we're at early conversations, using some Copilot, a little bit of Copilot here or there. The fact that no one's actively deploying Copilot at scale, completely normal. We're going to talk a little bit about where we should be, and more importantly, how we're getting our customers prepared for Copilot. But this is very helpful. So thank you very much for submitting that response. It's fine that our customers aren't all in on AI, and there's some factors that play in, and you can see them here on the screen. The reality of it is this has happened so fast. One of the conversations I've been having recently is many companies for the last 2.5 years didn't have a line item budget for AI. And this year, 2026, we're starting to see companies actually have budget. Now, the good thing is that really helps us do a good job of knowing how to have this conversation. But there are pains with the fact that this is happening so fast, whether it's end users bringing their own tools, the leadership team saying, we're got to do this, but we don't know what this is yet. AI feeling pressured, AI is like, yeah, there's some things we need to worry about. Security, compliance, data, identity, those little things. And again, that's laying the groundwork for what we're hearing today. Let's go ahead. what are some data points we do have? We know that most leaders across a variety of expectations of organizations have expectations of using agents and using AI in the next year and a half. Um, and that brings us to this concept of the frontier firm. Now, frontier firm is Microsoft, along with some universities and different organizations uh, getting together and trying to understand what does a roadmap for any organization, large or small, what is a roadmap that fits for almost everybody? And they came up with this idea of the frontier firm. And this is really aligns to the path we think it takes, whether we started last year or we're starting today, or we're starting, sometime in 2026. What are the natural progressive steps to get AI in our organization? Where most organizations are is phase zero. They may be playing. I'm sure many of us have sold 2 or 3 licenses to a customer because they want to play with it. Well, the reality of it is until we have a impactful number of humans using AI as an assistant, in our case, we're going to be talking mostly about Copilot today. We need to have users doing those things that AI, those low hanging fruit, right? We want to make sure we're using it to in our email, helping us prioritize email, helping us respond to email, help us draft emails, help us schedule meetings, take meeting notes, all those low hanging fruit productivity things. That's where we want to get to with Copilot being our assistant. Now, if your customers are just scratching the surface, I highly encourage you to start thinking about the number 10. 10 is the number of either the number of people in an organization less than 100, which many of our customers are. We need to start with 10 users or 10% in larger organizations. And why is that? Because we've found in over 2.5 years of AI adoption, that about 10 people, training them together, having them be our AI council or AI leadership team, really is the right number to where they feel like they're part of something important in their organization. So today we want to give 10 users or 10%, whichever is more, becoming humans with assistance. We want them not all in one department. This isn't an IT department project or a marketing team. It's a few people from each department in an organization. And their job is to start understanding, how can AI affect my department or roles? Once we get that motion going, we can then go to phase 2, which is the idea of I'm now going to use an agent as part of my team. Best example I can think on your website. I'm sure most of us have that form you fill out, right? If you want to know more about our company, fill out this inquiry form. And 9 times out of 10, that form's going to somebody's inbox and it gets dealt with when it gets dealt with. Well, what if we had an agent actually monitoring that form? And when something comes in, if someone's saying, hey, I want some information on your fabulous widget product, that's sending them a nice note with a PDF. If they're like, hey, I'm ready to buy 10 widgets, maybe that's our inside sales team. If they're saying, hey, I'm ready to buy 100 widgets, maybe we actually get an account manager and assign it. If it's about AP or HR or whatever, the agent can determine who it needs to go to and send it instantly. So that's the human agent team. And then somewhere down the road, and I'll tell you, in our organization, we're working on getting to this phase in 2026. In phase three, that's about human leaders and agents doing a lot of the operational work. What are things agents can't do today? Well, they can't strategize on their own. They can't innovate. They're not creative. They can't shake someone's hand. So in this future state, this phase three state of Frontier Firm, this is about organizations using AI for the operational stuff so that humans can do the hard stuff, the strategy, the innovation, shaking our customers' hands, those things. I see a question here, Kevin. 10 users, does it matter if they're in the same department or if a diverse set? We always prefer a diverse set. We have a whole team that works with partners like yourselves and their customers and early adoption. And we want it to be a diverse set. Now, sometimes it's the leadership team. That's been pretty common. That was very common last year. But we want to get representatives from each group to help us understand where we're at. Thank you, Kevin, for asking the question. Okay, next poll question. What will be your primary secure AI productivity sales motion this year? This is really about when are you going to have that conversation, or how do you lead that conversation? And there is no wrong answer here at all. So go ahead and complete the I'm sure you're trying to think about it. So I'll speak to a few of these while you're thinking about it. Renewal to AI upgrades is when we're having our renewal. Shame on us for having auto renew on, but it does keep us out of trouble. When we're having that renewal conversation, that's when we're going to be talking about AI. We want to lead with that business productivity, with the business premium and co-pilot, expand existing. We're going to go out and do AI for net new customers. There's a lot of markets. That's actually a really good way to think about this. Or if you're still thinking about it, that's fine as well. Looking at a couple questions while you're answering this. How would you do a demo for them? So we're going to talk about briefings for Nalit, for both of your questions. We're going to talk about briefings, which is sort of a bundled package set of content you can use to do it. It's got some pre-built demos, some sort of click-through type demos, as well as guidance on how to do your own demos. So, okay, let's see where we're at. Again, perfectly fine that we're still defining our go-to-market, and that's exactly where most partners are, right? We'll speak to a few of these. Renewal, anytime you're talking about renewal, today we're talking about secure productivity, so it's going to be that, let's talk about getting business premium, upselling business basic or business standard to business premium, turning on some of those low-hanging fruit security solutions. That's great to do during the renewal. Let's see, what are the next couple popular? Looks like a split between expanding existing and net new customers. So, but for those of you who are still defining, you're at the right place, because that's what we're here to talk about today, is where we should be. So today we're going to talk about 3 years ago, we would talk about secure productivity. Now, with the desire of many of our customers, they know they want to or need to do something. The desire they want to do that, we now have to introduce this idea of secure AI productivity. And what does that mean? That means that we are using AI tools, co-pilot, agents, but in a secure way to drive productivity. That means we have all the things we're going to be talking about today turned on. We also want to make sure that we have the tools in place to protect our organization. One of the concepts when people we're talking about agentic AI is if agents are sending emails on behalf of the company, they in fact have their own identity, and we need to treat them and apply rules and policies around them so that they're treated just like a user. And then last but not least, we have to remember for many of us that are MSPs, right? We're the IT team. So we have to build something in a way that makes sense to us that we can sell and that we can manage moving forward. If you just look at Microsoft 365, right, from a productivity, remember secure AI productivity, just from a productivity stance, the tools that we're talking about here, things like Outlook, Teams, OneDrive, and SharePoint for keeping all of our stuff together, those already, most of our customers are familiar with that. And most of our customers, for example, are already used to using MFA for logging in. You still have customers that haven't accepted MFA, fire them. There's risk there. Being a little facetious, but not. But on top of these tools we're already used to using, we're now with Business Premium sort of as the hero SKU for secure AI productivity. We're taking Entra and we're adding things like conditional access. We have the capabilities of the sensitivity labels. We'll talk about these in more depth. And DLP inside of Purview. All the capabilities of Defender and Endpoint, all as part of our solution to help our customers be productive using AI securely. Do more with less. This has been Microsoft. It's been Satya's mantra. It's been Microsoft's mantra for a long time. And as Microsoft has continued to refine Microsoft 365, the security tools, things like Entra and Intune, the reality of it is they have been designing it with us partners, with CSP, MSP partners in mind, with the idea we want to be able to support more customers with secure AI productivity without needing to, for example, hire a lot more team members. We're going to talk about ways to do that throughout our time together today. The latest total economic impact survey, this is Forrester, of partners, said that they're seeing that revenue just for the secure AI productivity piece. So think about just security, just Outlook, keeping email and Teams flowing, SharePoint on, the Microsoft tools and Microsoft license. We're seeing that actually up 13% to $91 a month. Now, the beautiful thing is, given current promotions and incentives, we can add an additional $12 per user per month, but with profit. I'm not talking revenue, but I'm talking an additional $12 a user profit by selling the current bundles and increasing around AI. So we're going to delve into how we're going to do that. We're going to start it with Business Premium. Like I said, this is the hero SKU. And what does that mean? Business Premium includes all the security products and the ability to expand into the E5 security and compliance world that gives us the tools to be productive, the tools to be AI and do AI securely as you're going to see as we talk about the different offerings and bundles that are available right now, at a reduced cost, right? Less than we would have spent a year ago with additional features and capabilities. So what's the goal, right? The way we do more with less, especially as CSPs, is um, there's a big faction of partners, and I'm a huge advocate of this. Is we have to be able to do more with less, right? We want our team using AI in the collaborative apps. You can only do that well today with Copilot. We want to make sure our brand is getting out in the community as an AI leading organization. Um, I had a couple partners last week in an in-person event, and they came up to me and said, "We're seeing new competitors come into our markets, and they're leading with AI first, but they know that if they get in there, they can take away the business, their Microsoft business as well." And they're very concerned about that. We have to talk to our customers. Heaven forbid if we shake hands with our customers or get on a face-to-face call. Um, some of us on this phone call have not talked to our customers in over a year. So we want to use this as this tool set and what we're going to be talking about. We want to use that as a way to kickstart that conversation. Same time, we're going to continue to help ourselves and our customers defend against bad actors and give a unified security experience. So Microsoft 365 Business, we're comfortable with it. We know it. We know what it includes. It's stuff we've been selling for a long time. And we want to keep telling it. The only thing that's going to change is we do want to tell the Business Premium story. What does the Business Premium story bring into the case? It's going to bring in Defender. It's going to bring in Purview. And it's going to bring in Endpoint, Intune, for example. So we're going to talk about all these features, how we bring them in, what they're actually going to do for us. And my goal is to sort of give you a running checklist of how many, or what are the things I need to make sure I turn on when I sell Business Premium. So very first thing, and I'm going to tell you a story hot off the presses. We had an accounting firm here in North Georgia, where I live, that last week, one of the principals, one of the main people, clicked a link, and they got control of her computer, and they went in and they changed tax forms for customers that were due rebates, and were changing the customer's bank or that taxpayer's bank account information so that the government's tax payment would come to their bank instead of to the actual taxpayer's bank. I was talking to the leader. He sent me a note. He says, "Steve, I can never let this happen again. We've called the FBI. We've called the police. They've done an investigation. We quarantined the computer, so did all the right things. What steps should we have taken?" I'm like, "So tell me about your security." "Oh, we're a Google shop." "Okay, what do you mean?" "Well, we use Gmail, and that's got security." I'm like, "Oh, okay. What about spyware?" "Oh, I think we still pay for our McAfee subscription." Or at least I know most people's McAfee's up to date. And it's like, okay, we're going to have a conversation about Microsoft 365 Business Premium. There's only a handful of, they've got a lot of seasonal workers. There's a handful of main workers. We're going to get them set up with all this goodness. But one of this, phishing and ransomware, Defender, Safe Defender for Office, Defender for cloud apps. If they would have had that in place, more than likely the email that had the malicious link in it would have been caught and that user would have never seen it. They just didn't have the capabilities turned on for these things. We think about identity. I asked them, how are you doing identity? Well, everyone has their passwords. And I asked the main principal, I'm like, how often do you change their passwords? Oh, I think we have to change our password once a year. Are you using any kind of MFA? Yeah, for our tax well, no. Our tax software wanted us to start using MFA, but we haven't turned it. And again, it's like, and these are conversations that happen every day, right? So we have the capabilities with Defender. In this case, we're talking here about going passwordless. We're going to get them on Microsoft Authenticator, MFA, conditional access, turning on all these capabilities. Then I asked them about their data. I'm like, is there any chance they downloaded your files? Well, nothing's been deleted, but I can't tell if they accessed any files or not. Immediately, my brain went to, you need Business Premium, because Business Premium comes with Purview Information Protection, where we could turn on policies, where we can control how documents are handled. All of those things we can start handling. They live in a world of financial information of their customers. Literally everything they do should be marked sensitivity labels, or should be marked confidential or highly confidential, should be marked as do not forward, should have rules that do not allow them to export any or email any documents outside their organization. I can't make this stuff up. They haven't thought about any of that stuff. They live in a world of bring your own device. I'm like, the user that clicked the link, what did you do with their life? Oh, no, when the police came out, they said we need to quarantine the machine. I'm like, okay, what did you do for a new machine? Oh, we just went to Best Buy and bought a used. So, but bring your own device is the real world, right? Is a fact. And the beautiful thing is that's great. You bring your own laptop, you can use your phone, knowing that if we set everything up correctly in Intune, everything's containerized, right? Everything's in that encrypted, secure place that all of our email and our files and any documents on SharePoint, anything we use stays in that encrypted, protected space. And we can even protect against things like copying, pasting from a work app to a personal app. So we want to make sure we turn, again, as I'm thinking about their real life example, literally it happened yesterday. I got this email. It's like, we want to turn all of these things on for you. I'm going to check questions and see. Looks like the only question asked was Rodney asked, can Copilot be sold as a standalone? It can. For most of your customers, it's going to be $21. We're also going to talk about free, right? So every Microsoft 365 user already has free, secure, auditable, e-discoverable, litigation holdable Microsoft 365 chat. In a couple weeks, that's going to be renamed, because it's hot off the presses. That's going to be renamed Basic, Microsoft 365 Copilot Basic. Today, it's known as Chat. That's free for everybody. And then we have the $21 paid license that has Work IQ, which we're going to talk about in a little while, and brings additional value. Abdul, I would need to dig into your question. I would have to study that one. And then it looks like Trixie has an MFA customer that does that MFA. Dan, I can't answer your Lighthouse question today. Yes, I love Lighthouse. It is still the best single pane of glass for small and medium-sized partners that are, that are managing SMB type customers. Highly recommended. So I owe a couple answers. Abdul and Trixie will look at those. I'll try to look at those during the next poll question. So bring your own device, manage with Intune, included with Business Premium is wonderful. Intra P1 is included as well. What does this allow us to do? This allows us to turn on conditional access. Conditional access looks at things like when someone's trying to log in with my credentials, which is usually me, but if someone is trying to log in and they have my username and password, but they're trying to log in from Istanbul, and I'm currently logged in Atlanta, Georgia, conditional access says, this looks shady. Maybe I'm going to force MFA. Maybe I'm going to dig a little deeper and make sure it is really you that logs in. We also have the ability to remotely wipe data from lost and stolen devices, and gives us one place to manage all of our tools. We talk about desktop virtualization, whether it's Azure Virtual Desktop, which the capabilities are included in Business Premium, or Windows 365. If you have customers, and I would say like my accountant, where every file is critical, needs to be secure. I've seen a big uptake recently in desktop virtualization. Like I said, either Azure Virtual Desktop or Windows 365, to create a scenario where you can access your data from anywhere, but all that's ever on the machine you're using is just a screen. No files are stored locally. Nothing literally is stored locally. We can enforce that with Intune and virtual and like Windows 365. I thought we had another poll question. Next one, included in Business Premium, of course, inside of Intune, we have the ability to do autopilot. My accountant friend who reached out said, we went out to Best Buy and bought a new computer. Now, I would have preferred if they would have bought an enterprise, a commercial quality device, and I will talk to them about that. But if they would have had autopilot configured and everything configured correctly in Intune, she could have simply got that new computer plugged in, logged in as her user, and automatically have that machine load her apps and be ready to go. The zero-touch process for new desktop deployments in autopilot, if you haven't started playing with this, I highly encourage you to do so. And in my accountant's situation, who cares if you're quarantining that machine, right? Just get a replacement and we're back up and running literally in hours. Or less than an hour. Automatic attack, Defender for Business. Okay, so people say, Steve, I'm confused. What is Defender for Business? Defender for Business is Defender for Endpoint for 300 seats and below, right? It's the Defender for Endpoint that is included in Business Premium. And what this allows to happen is if an attacker gets some credentials, you'll see here, step 0, the attacker got Alice's credentials and then creates a new user called Bob. Alice then the attacker then connects as Alice via RDP to apply their bad malware. What actually happens is that activity with Defender for Business, that RDP session is detected, that bad behavior is detected, that session is immediately terminated, and Alice's account is then put in quarantine mode and completely contained. Well, the bad guy knows we're on it, so phase two, he comes in, he's like, aha, I'm going to try to come in with the remote encryption over SMB instead of RDP. Again, because Alice's account was incriminated and contained because it's quarantined, that doesn't work. Well, the bad guy's like, well, but I'm pretty smart. I created my Bob account. Now, because Alice created Bob, that account that Alice created, the Bob account is also automatically created, incriminated by association, and nothing can happen in that. This attack is 100% completely automated. Defenders using machine learning and AI on the back end to watch for these behaviors and will automatically defend and resolve. What do you see when you come into work in the morning? If you're using Lighthouse, which I love, you're going to see an event, right? You're going to see an alert. You're going to go in and it's going to say, hey, this bad thing happened, but we prevented anything bad from really happening. So that's this dreamscape of where we want to get. I talked about Copilot chat already. What I want to make sure we understand is with Copilot, your customers can start using Copilot today. Let's talk about Copilot chat, or soon to be Copilot basic. They can start using it today with zero worries about security and compliance. How do I say that? Because chat has, or Microsoft Copilot has zero security, compliance, identity settings. Copilot chat works with the security settings of the user. It uses the credentials of the user. If the user has policies like DLP, sensitivity labels, anything else like that, those policies are enforced by Copilot on behalf of the user. And right now, this is the only AI tool that does this at a native level. So we call it enterprise data protection. That also includes the fact that when we're using Copilot and we see that little green shield in the upper right-hand side, we know that Microsoft's not learning, not watching, not training. No LLMs are being trained as part of this. All data is handled inside the tenant and never goes outside the Microsoft 365 domain. It all lives inside my tenant. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go the next one. So, Steve, is Business Basic bad? No, Business Basic is not bad. I still think for an occasional user, if you have someone that, some remote workers that only check email on their phone, sort of like a frontline thing, it's just fine, right? So I have friends in the trucking industry, and everybody that drives a truck has a Business Basic. Everybody in the office has Business Premium, right? Everybody has Intune, has Defender, Purview, and Enter ID all turned on and managing their identity, their endpoints, their cloud, and their data. Now, sometimes we have customers that have particular needs that are above and beyond that of a typical small or medium-sized business. My accountant probably follows financial institutions, healthcare, anybody that handles sensitive data. Most organizations that do business with the government might apply to them as well. So it used to be the only real way to get E5 or P2 level security and compliance tools was to buy E5. And I have several partners we work very closely with that have come to us and said, we sold E5 just to get all the security goodies. Well, we don't need to do that anymore. Now we have the Defender Suite and the Purview Suite. And those give us P2 level capabilities. I can also, which is E5 capability. We also have the Purview Suite, Defender and Purview bundle as well, which is a 15 instead of 10 per month. I'm going to talk about what's in each one of those here in a second. Earlier, someone asked, $21 or $30, we can add Copilot. I want to call that out here as well. And Bill, I know you're keeping track of any questions. Anything top of mind is around business premium, relevant to business premium before we switch gears?
In the chat, I don't see, I think you addressed most of the questions. I'm flipping through it one more time. The only thing that I will add is that right now, D&H, well, for the next 2 days, is running a promotion on the Business Premium bundle, but we have some more promotions that we'll be announcing next week. So hopefully some of you took advantage of that.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Everything, what I always say is make sure you're working with your D&H team whenever you're working on Microsoft stuff. It's really easy to go into the tool and just order a license here or license there. But make sure, especially if you're anything with AI or Business Premium, those hero SKUs, make sure you're talking to the D&H team to make sure you're taking advantage of any promos, programs, incentives that are out there. And we're going to be talking about incentives, but for now. So to wrap up, adding goodies to Business Premium. The Defender Suite, if you look at this list, includes everything P2. It also includes full Defender for Identity. That is the AI-driven, machine learning-based tool that watches even above and beyond conditional access. It's watching your identity for any kind of odd behavior live, 7/24, 365. Also Defender for Cloud Apps. Now, some partners aren't super familiar with that. Defender for Cloud Apps is how we can determine which applications we allow inside our customer's organization and which organizations are considered risky. This is especially important as we think about AI, right? There are somewhere between 10 and 15 new generative AI tools on the market every day, for every week for sure, probably every day. And what does that mean? That means it's easy for us to say, for us to be us end users, right? To say, boy, I just read an article in Reddit about a great new AI tool. I'm going to go out and try it. Well, what we don't know is what that AI tool does with the data, how it's managed. Is there any kind of controls, any kind of audit, those kinds of things? Well, Defender for Cloud App, the best feature that comes with the $10 Defender Suite inside of Cloud Apps is we can say, here is our approved whitelist of AI applications. And for most organizations, that's going to be the Microsoft properties. That'll include Bing. That will include uh, Copilot Chat, the 30 or the free version, and then the paid $30 version. Now, we may also have some users that are using Chat GPT Teams or Enterprise, so we could whitelist that as well. We probably don't want to enable things like DeepSeek or Grok, right, in our organization. So we can block all those, or we can whitelist the only ones we accept, and we can blacklist everything else. And cloud apps will actually prevent shadow AI tools from being used. Now they can still hop on their phone and use it. We all know that, right? Now, Purview, whole nother story. This brings us all the E5 capabilities of compliance to Microsoft 365 Business Premium. That's enhanced information protection, think automatic sensitivity labels. That's enhanced DLP. It's data lifecycle and records management. One of the big things we hear about is I'm worried that Copilot will find old stuff that I don't know is out there. Well, we probably shouldn't have stuff that's too old out there, right? So we can use Purview to manage that. Insider risk management is huge inside the organization. It is an AI machine learning based observing that user's behaviors. So if all of a sudden a user is copying a bunch of files to a USB stick, we can see that behavior, capture it, stop the behavior, report the behavior. It's also stealing sensitive data, does a lot of cool stuff. And then last one I'm going to call out here is e-discovery and audit. In some organizations, litigious organizations especially, e-discovery and advanced audit capabilities bring a lot of value. I had a customer that didn't have this turned on, and they got involved in some litigation, and they had to do e-discovery, and they had to go out and provide access to every email and every Word document relevant to the case. And they ended up spending, I think, somewhere around 60 to 70 grand on paralegals going through their emails for e-discovery. Once we turn on e-discovery and litigation hold and all the advanced audit capabilities, then it becomes simply a matter of assigning the auditor or the paralegal, assigning them an account. You give them a highly privileged role inside of Purview. We give them that audit or e-discovery role. They then put in the keywords that they need. Who's the customer name? What are the date ranges? What are some keywords they would be looking for if they were manually looking at it? And they press go. And literally in the next day, everything pops up and they have that report. Now, like I said, we get all of those things in one pane of glass within Lighthouse. All this is manageable inside of Lighthouse, all for $15 if we buy them together. I do know, I don't know if I have a slide in here or not, so I'm going to mention it. A lot of customers that are thinking about Copilot have a lot of data concerns. So there's currently a promo for $5 Purview instead of $10. I don't know if that's going through the end of the month or not, but or after the end of the month, but I think it probably will. Okay, next poll question. Okay, what is your customer's #1 concern that they raise about AI and Copilot? What's their biggest concern? Is it data security? Is it being compliant? Do we have that governance document? Is it the cost? Is it they're worried about users actually using it the correct way? Or is it my IT team's not ready? While we're doing that, I'm going to look at some Q&A here. Let's see. James asked that the customer has just purchased M365 Premium, but now wants the Microsoft 365 Premium with Copilot. Talk to the D&H team. They'll tell you what your options are. William asked, what if you have current anti-AV software running on your computer, such as Malwarebytes? Microsoft has the ability to say, don't look at our Defender. I'm a huge fan of Defender, though. I know Microsoft's biggest customers, including Department of Defense, have standardized on Defender as for desktop protection, for endpoint protection. So, but you can say, don't look at that or don't run it. I'm using another tool. The Defender suite, Michael asked, are the Defender suite and Purview suite included in Business Premium? Those are add-ons. But that being said, basic or P1 functionality of Defender and P1 functionality of Purview are included in the $22 Business Premium license. It's just if you want the E5 capabilities, you have to add it. Okay, a couple of these questions are around Copilot. Yes, you'll have access to these slides. You may be able to download them already. There's a couple questions on Copilot. I'm going to give you an update on Copilot while we're here. Okay, let's look at the results. Cost or ROI, okay, appears to be the number one concern. We're going to talk about some different programs and tools and offers and incentives that will help with helping tell the cost or ROI story. I will tell you, though, that if we set the stage correctly, we have that conversation, the very first poll question. If we have the conversation with our customer where we say, you know, what do you want to do with AI? How do you want to take advantage of it? The reality of it is with the correct adoption, with the correct training, and I'll give you from the hundreds of users that we've trained, thousands literally we've trained. When we go back and ask, after you've taken real adoption training, what are you getting out of Copilot? For sure, it's 2 or 5 hours a week, not a month, but a week. But many people say 5 hours, 10 hours. I get people up in the low 20s of hours saved by using Copilot. The minute you make it real, and we're going to talk about the briefings where we can do the demos and showcase real world cases of how it's real. The minute you make it real, they realize that the cost itself of that $21 license for 300 seats or below, it pays for itself. For executives in most organizations, it pays for itself in the first week. So, okay, Microsoft 365. This slide, as simple as it is, has a very important word. And that word is work. Microsoft 365 Copilot is designed for knowledge workers. It's not, for those of us on this phone call, and I'll raise my hand on this one, for those of us that have multiple AI subscriptions, and we love to test, well, what does what does DeepSeek's results give me that are better? You know, is DeepSeek better than Grok? Is that better than Claude? Is that better than Copilot versus ChatGPT? If you love playing that game, Copilot's going to help you better in your email, help you schedule meetings, all of those things, but it's not your primary AI. Right now in the world, there's about 10% of us that are considered expert enthusiasts, crazy people that love to test one AI against the other. There's about 5% of us in the world that are deniers, and I'm sure all of us know someone. I actually have 2 direct family members that are both AI deniers. Nah, I don't need AI, or I don't trust AI. That leaves 85% of us in the middle. And that 85% includes folks like Bob, not the bad actor Bob, but, or let's not use Bob, that's Sally in sales, right? And Harry in HR. These are people that come to work every day and they sit down at their inbox and they have too many emails. They look at their calendar and they have conflicting meetings. They live in tools like Word, PowerPoint, and Excel every day. That's who Microsoft 365 Copilot's for, that 85% in the middle. So when I get it all the time. Well, Steve, I think Claude is so far gives such better results. Well, the first thing I tell them is, if you have the $21 license, it includes Claude. So go ahead and select that and use Claude as part of your Copilot experience. So yeah, news break. Not only do I have the latest GPT, the ChatGPT LLMs, all the way up to 5.4 deep thinking, I also have Claude that I can select at any time and use as my main LLM with Copilot. Now, we're talking about secure productivity. We're talking about, with the paid version of Copilot, the bottom thing on this slide, the foundation of that $21 or $30 license is this. Copilot will see and index all of your data. That's all your organization and your individuals, emails, Word documents, PDFs, meeting notes, calendar invites, Excel spreadsheets, you name it. All content stored in the graph. When you buy the $21 or $30 license, your data then starts being indexed. Now we have ways to say, don't look at this SharePoint folder. We still have that old S drive from the old on-prem stored out there. No one knows what's on there. We can restrict SharePoint from searching certain sites, and Copilot uses SharePoint search. There is no separate search settings or anything else. If a user can see it today, Copilot can see it today. If the user can't find it, Copilot won't find it for them either. So WorkIQ is my data, is my stuff, right? And that's important, because we want to be able to do things like create a proposal for XYZ company for 55 widgets. Well, if I just say that statement, proposal means use our standard format that we use for every proposal. XYZ company, go out to CRM or look at the past projects we've done in my emails and such, and pull data from that to create this proposal. As opposed to, without the $21 license, I can say I can upload or attach the proposal format. I can upload and attach information about the particular product, but it's not automatic. Data is not new. We've had this aspect since Copilot launch. But what is new, what makes Work IQ new now, is it also includes memory and inference. Memory learns about me. It learns how I sign my emails. It learns that I like to start my emails with a hope you had a great weekend. Today, that's what any emails I'd be creating would start with. Midweek, hope you're having a great week. End of week, hope you're planning to have a great weekend. Hope you're having a great holiday, those kinds of things. That's how I always, when I'm drafting an email, that always includes those in the first email of that thread. Copilot's learned that about me. It does that for me now. It also learns things like I had it develop a diet and exercise. Copilot helped me build a diet and exercise program. And I was doing an event in Calgary, Canada, and I said, Copilot, what's the best hotel for me in Calgary? And it said, hey, you would normally have picked this lovely hotel that's literally in the same building as the Microsoft office. Go down an elevator, cross the lobby, go up an elevator, you're at the Microsoft office. You don't even have to go outside. But I'm going to recommend, since you started this 6-day-a-week exercise program, stay at this Marriott property 3 blocks away, which overlooks the park that has 15 miles of walking trails. So just out of nowhere, that's what Copilot remembered about me. Now, and we can control memory. We can tell it things, we can give it instructions, and we can add things to memory and take things away if we want to. Now, inference is a whole nother situation. And you've actually experienced, in reading the invite for this meeting, going to the webpage for this meeting, you're actually experiencing Copilot and inference. So typically when we do these events, this is a custom event where we're talking about Business Premium, and we're going to talk about some programs and incentives. That's sort of a custom thing. And what I did is I said, Copilot, Bill had reached out and said, hey, Steve, can you give us a write-up for the web? And I said, absolutely. So of course I go to Copilot and say, combine our typical secure productivity story and add this other PowerPoint set of content for current promotions and offers, and create a cohesive agenda. The very first thing it said, Copilot asked me, it goes, now, Bill had sent me a Teams asking me to get him the agenda. Copilot knew that Bill had asked me for that and said, would you like me to write this in your voice? Or I didn't tell Bill this story, so he's probably going to either love me, hate me, or somewhere in between. I said, it says, would you like it in your voice or would you like it in DNH and Bill's voice? I went ahead and chose Bill's, sent it over, and he said, hey, Steve, this looks fantastic. So maybe it worked. Not sure. So anyway.
I actually did not know that. That's pretty funny.
Well, there you go. So Copilot knew I was creating it for you. I didn't say create this for Bill at DNH, but it saw that we had talked about it, and it inferred, it asked, it didn't assume, it inferred that's what I wanted. So that's kind of a fun story. Copilot innovations, first and foremost, where it's here to help personal and team productivity. That's from day one what it's here for. We also have the ability inside of the Microsoft 365 Copilot ecosystem to build agents. And when we see things like business process, that's where we're thinking agents. Then when we see enterprise-ready AI, that's about what we've been talking about for the last hour. That's about the security that we need to put in place for Copilot to be secure, for it to be usable and secure. So, a couple key points just around Copilot. Whenever you see this image, I want you to think every user has a Copilot. You see my user here in the middle, or the first picture. Every user has a Copilot. Every business process has an agent. Okay, so that's how, whenever you'll see this image a lot inside of Microsoft's Copilot stuff. That's what this picture is all about. Remember, we talked about Frontier Firm. This shows Copilot in the center of the universe for both the user as an assistant and for agents and having agents for business processes. Here it is in words. Microsoft, Satya has said from the very beginning, our ambition, Microsoft's ambition, is that to empower every user to have a Copilot assistant, and then transform every business process with an agent. I want you to think about business processes. How many business processes does your team or your organization have? Now, that's one of those big pie in the sky questions, right? I don't know. Is it tens? Well, I know it's way more than tens. I have 10 personal processes I do every day. Is it hundreds? And in some organizations, is it thousands? And when we think about building a long-term profitable Copilot AI practice, I want you to really think about the opportunity side of agents. That's not what we're talking about today. We've had sessions in the past. We'll probably have sessions in the future around agents. But that's where I want you to think. That's where most Microsoft partners are going to find especially in the SMB space, where Sally at Sally's Dog Wash Emporium is never going to be an agent creator. She's going to have ideas for agents, but she's not the one. So I want you to be her person she thinks about, her company she thinks about going to for any agent needs, just like she probably thinks about you from a security perspective now. How do we do this? How do we monetize it? So the first thing is that Copilot chat, right? That free, secure, auditable, e-discoverable, litigation holdable. If I've got Business Premium configured correctly, it will do all of those things for every user. Why is that important? Most people don't think about this, and there's not been a lot of, hey, you used AI and with my information, and I'm going to sue you. We haven't had a lot of that litigation yet, but it's planned. We know there's going to be AI litigation, right? And with the free Copilot chat, we want everyone, 100% of those 5% deniers. We want at least that 85%, the Harry's in HR and Sally in sales, using chat yesterday. Start it tomorrow. Have a conversation with them about this now. We want everyone using Copilot chat when they're doing work. Why is that? Because it is auditable with Business Premium. It is e-discoverable and litigation holdable. When those first AI lawsuits come, or if there's anything considered nefarious going on in the organization, and we think that Copilot did something, we can go back with chat and see what AI did. I can't do that with any other AI platform that someone buys at an individual basis today. Now, we talked about Work IQ. That's the $30 or $21 license. That's the second one. Again, we're going to turn on our security. We're going to restrict some SharePoint sites if we need to. And we're going to turn this on for that magic number of 10. 10 users in 100 seats or below, 10% of the workforce in 100 seats or above. And then we're going to start thinking about agents. And when we have an agent session coming up, I encourage you to join. We're going to hear things like, how do we make money from the agents that are pre-built and just need to be configured, turned on, and deployed? We're going to learn how to talk about building custom agents. We can do all of these things. We're going to learn about how do we connect agents to our CRM or to our line of business application. That's all ways you can make money in your customers after you've done the security and got them all set up. And then on top of that, we're going to talk about, for the rest of our time together, we're going to be talking about programs and incentives and promotions that are out there. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and ask our next poll question. So get out your polling button, if you would, please. This is around how confident are you having a business premium conversation with your customer under the auspices of this is what we need to do to get ready for AI. It's what we've been talking about for the last hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to give about another minute here, get some more submissions. This doesn't just have to be a measure of the conversation we've had in the last hour. I want you to be honest. This will help D&H understand, boy, what are some additional things we might need to help to enable our partner community to be comfortable telling the business premium story. Okay, we'll go ahead and show the results. Get your last answers in, if you would. Okay, somewhat confidence, great. We want to figure out ways for neutral and somewhat confident. We want to figure out ways to help you get more confident, whether that's some technical training around hey, Steve, I'm convinced the business premium has some cool security and compliance licenses in them, but how do I actually turn those on, right? So we can absolutely look at that. For those of you that are very confident, good job. I hope you kill it selling business premium. For the people that said not positioning it today, hopefully our time together today will move you to at least start thinking about how can we incorporate this into our tool set. Okay, Microsoft in partnership with D&H has different programs and promotions that are available. I just want to highlight a few of my favorites that I think you should know about. First of all, I want everyone to gather this kit, and I don't know if there's a way to easily, I will fat finger it if I type that and share it with anyone. But this link, go ahead and take a picture of it or go ahead and hop on and try it. But the M365 Copilot Business Kit is a great set of tools for how to have a conversation with your customer, how to do some demos. There's some promotional content. There's a playbook, all kinds of great information. So I encourage you to download this. And don't be careful. Don't just download it once. Remember, this document's updated regularly. So worthy checking. I check it about every other month, give or take. So the last one I got, I think, was updated in February. The next thing I want to talk about is when we have this conversation and how we find it. Now, you should all have access to Cloud Ascent, which is Microsoft's tool of telling you information about your AI looks at all the customers that you have, you've sold and have management access to, or GDAP, or the right relationships set up with. and it will tell you what their likelihood is for any given Copilot cohort. What do I mean by a cohort? Basically, the AI runs and says, these are the customers, for example, that I'm going to start at the bottom, that we need to start talking about attaching Copilot chat. They're not using Microsoft 365 apps. They have no Copilot seats. Let's tell them about just the free Copilot chat that's available today. We may want to attach Copilot, right? If they're using Microsoft 365 apps, Word, PowerPoint, Teams, Outlook, and Excel, then there we want to attach that $21 license in the 300 seats or below, right? We want to attach that $21 license. Same with expand, right? They have some Copilot seats won't expand it, but the hero SKU here is upgrade to Business Premium and sell Copilot at the same time. And what that's going to allow us to do is sell a bundled SKU that's available that includes Business Premium and Copilot as part of one selling effort. We'll talk about some pricing that's available for that. You should also have access to aka.ms/ASPX. ASPX is it's not developer ASPX, Microsoft in naming, right? But it is the AI business solution security partner center experience. And what it does is it gives you a dashboard that's going to report licenses, usage, workload, the health of their organization. It's also going to include upsell opportunities like we have in Cloud Ascent. And it's going to also list incentives and referrals, right? It's going to help you identify which of your customers should you be having conversations with today. It's going to help you drive business growth. Now, this is a new tool. You do have to sign up for it. There's some configuration that may need to happen in your tenant. You can find all that at the AKA link here. But I encourage you to start looking at this data. I am asking very kindly to get an access to a demo or something to show you. But this is sort of the future how Microsoft wants us to start gathering the AI data that Microsoft is getting about our customers and using it as part of that.
Steve, I'm going to jump in here for just a second. I'm glad you included this. I was just in a training last week, so this is a great sales resource. D&H is looking to try to have a training spun up about this or some content spun up about this in the next month or so, so keep your eyes peeled. For now, if you're having trouble accessing it, the one thing I will tell you is that you need to have access to Partner Center, and you need to have the executive reports permission assigned to your Partner Center account. If you do that and you go to Insights at the bottom of Insights, you'll see the opportunity. You follow that link, or you can find the link under your Insights tab. And this is great because to what Steve said in the bit of the demo we ran on this, it was awesome to be able to see, you can see usage for all of your customers in terms of, are they on chat? Do they have any paid users? And they give you some propensity scoring, like how likely it would be and why they think that it would be a great tool to upsell them either to a higher tier of Microsoft 365 services like Business Premium or adopt Copilot. So tons on this. This is relatively new, I believe. And so D&H is looking forward to, looking forward to having a webinar about this very soon. We think it's an awesome tool for identifying opportunities for growth.
We're working on it, Bill. I want to be able to show it to people, and right now there's
it's tough. It's very tough to show to people right now. That is the challenge.
Here's a slide. It's a picture of what it could look like. But anyway, okay, definitely take a look at this. Probably one of the long-term, one of the links I want you to take away from this the most. A couple other things. If you're not, I'm not going to go into any depth here, but if you're not familiar with the MCI immersion briefings, there is funding available sometimes from Microsoft, sometimes through D&H. to do like a 1 to 5 customer event where you bring the customer to your webinar, or it can even be on prem, and you spend 90 minutes talking to them about Copilot. And in doing that, then if you qualify, and there's a lot of steps, you have to sign up, and there are a lot of steps here. But if you go through steps, you can get some money. Even if you don't get the money, go ahead and grab your camera real quick and scan this QR code. And it'll take you where you can download the content for this offering. It is the latest, greatest PowerPoint customer invite for an event. It's a great set of tools to help you do a 90-minute delivery. It gives you everything you need to equip you to do it. So highly encourage you to look at briefings. Next, supposedly there's future funding and more partners are going to get accepted into the program. But for Copilot, the program, somewhere in here it says, if money's available. I will tell you, there's a Copilot one that is funding is tight. There is a security one, talking about Business Premium. There is a security one that is still well funded. So you can find everything you need there at that QR code.
I'll jump in again here. If you guys have any questions about those immersion briefings, D&H, we have executed some of those immersion briefings. So if you need to, you can reach directly out to me, which we'll put a note in the follow-up email for today's presentation. But we have some best practices for hosting those immersion briefings. It's really nice to be able to get your partners hands-on with Copilot without having to pay for licenses. So we'll include that in our follow-up.
Love it. Okay. Last major thing I want to talk about is the current promotion bundles. So right now, through June 30th, so through the first half of the year, Copilot, the $21 Copilot business license has a promo price of $18, and that's for any number of seats. And we have a Business Premium Plus Copilot Business for 43 list price, $32. That's about 25% off that for 10 to 300 seats you can apply. Now, I want to make sure we're super clear on this. I want you to tell your customer it's $43. I do not want you to tell your customer there's a promo for 25% off. This, I want you to take advantage. I want you to put that money in your pocket to help build your Copilot practice, to help you increase your profitability. So if you have customers interested in Copilot and they want to go up to Business Premium at the same time, that's why this incentive exists, or this promotion exists. Again, there's all kinds of promotions out there. Make sure you're working with D&H to take advantage of all of them. I'm pausing just in case Bill wants to pop in and say something on this one.
No.
Okay, and then if you have customers that have over 300 seats, for 10 seats or more of the full $30 Copilot, there's also a 15% promo on that going right now as well. And you'll see here, I do note that the paid version of Copilot does include both Claude and GPT-5 as models, as LLMs you can use in your everyday interaction with Copilot. Pretty cool stuff. CSP Hub. So if you'll go ahead and grab this URL now, or you can download these decks. I think it's available. When you get the deck, remember this one. This is where you're going to go find the news. This is where you're going to find all the things, the incentives and the programs, things like briefings. This is where you're going to find those as well. This is the new center of the universe for everything Microsoft program. For CSPs, particularly for us Microsoft partners. I get partners all the time that said, I'm looking for a PowerPoint, the latest PowerPoint deck for Business Premium or for Windows 365 or for security, this is the place. I highly encourage you to put this on one of your favorites links and utilize it whenever you need to go find some information. So with that, we've already talked about that. What are the key things to get moving forward? If you're not actively leading with Business Premium, I highly encourage you to do that. If that means, hey, Steve, I might need to add some new capabilities, just let us know. Let D&H know. Hey, I'm excited about Business Premium, but I need to get some skilling around Defender and Purview and Entra and Intune. We can absolutely help you with that. Make sure there's a customer success story you can use, but there's also customer success stories in the briefing kit that we shared with you. The other thing I want to just shout at here, I'm not going to read this list to you. I want you to start, everyone on this call, to start using Copilot. Even if you have another favorite, use Copilot, use the free one, try the $21 one. If you buy the $21 one, or by the way, if you buy that enhanced partner benefit kit, the $3,000 to $4,000 one, that one now comes with 10 or 12 Copilot licenses and a bunch of other stuff. So, and Business Premium, 35 Business Premium licenses. Get these tools, start using them, get comfortable with them, get your team using them so you can go out and tell this story. Okay, so final poll question. So we talked about some different promotions that are out there. I did not talk about the envisioning workshops or deployment, so I'm sorry I missed those. Should rewrite the polling question. But out of the Copilot bundles, that's those 25% off sales, that's adding bundles. The immersion briefings, Bill said he's got tools and resources to help you with that. If either of those are interesting to you, go ahead and let me know that if you would, please. And if you know what envisioning workshops or deployment and adoption funding, read, those are typically for 300 or 500 seats or above. And if you qualify for those, you probably already know you qualify for those. Okay, give everyone a few more minutes. We are wrapping up right on time. So let's go ahead and see. Okay, yeah, definitely take it, please. Take that 25% promo. We all want an extra 25% points in margin. Also make sure that you're participating in all, you're getting your competencies and specializations, because on top of that 25%, there's back-end money you can get. Again, talk to your friends at D&H to help you figure out, to make sure you're getting the most from those programs. So with that, we've got 1 minute left. Bill, is there anything exciting in the Q&A that we could answer in 1 minute or less?
I think that I sent responses out to most partners who asked. Let me just see if there was anything that would be great to share with. So somebody had asked a question about Purview and data retention. Is my understanding that Purview can retain data indefinitely if you have the paid license for Purview. So if you are working in an industry that requires retention limits of 5, 6, 7 years, Purview is your tool to help you retain that. Some of the other questions. Is an add-on for licensing required for all M365 users? This was an interesting question. For Copilot, you can license seats as you want, but when we get into Defender and especially Purview, the idea is that all the users that are benefiting from the functionality of those licenses need to have a license. So that's kind of a gray area. So what you would want to do for any of those questions about nuance, there was another question about upgrading mid-cycle. All of those questions, we have a team of Microsoft specialists dedicated to answering those questions. That alias is modernapplications@dnh.com. So we'll make sure that we include that in the follow-up email to the webinar. If you have any questions about specifics of a situation and how we can best serve a partner, please reach out to that alias directly, and you will hear back from a person on our team, and they are fantastic at what they do. We'll help you get set up. So we appreciate all the feedback today. I don't see any new questions in chat, so hopefully we were able to answer a lot of your questions. And keep your eyes peeled. We have a lot of webinars coming up here soon for Microsoft. Just keeps announcing things, so we're going to keep chatting to you about them. So we appreciate you guys joining today. And Steve, thank you for joining us as well.
Yeah, well, thanks for letting me be part of this. I appreciate it. And thanks, everybody, for spending time with us.
Thank you. See ya.